and welcome to the Sanctuary, a safe space to speak from the heart. I'm your host, Israel, and my guest today is Micah Brown, the founder of BATLX and the owner and co-founder of the Halifax Harbour Hawks. Thanks for coming to the Sanctuary today.
Appreciate you having me on, Israel.
Yo, I've been dying to do this thing, but I want to rewind back a little bit. Your journey. And what are some of the things you learned, from playing football that you're now incorporating into your businesses today?
Yeah, well, there's a lot. There's a whole lot. So I'll try to, keep it in almost point form. I would say one
Right.
of the first lesson I learned in playing football was actually something my mom taught me. And first time playing football, we go through a couple of days of practices and training, and it was hard, but it was like, okay, I could do this. Then we get equipment, and I got lit up. I started crying. I was like, I'm not doing this. Whatever. I sat out the rest of practice. I get in the car, go home, crying. Mom, I don't want to play anymore. And she's like, okay. And then I started, feeling good. And she's like, you're gonna finish the season, and then after the season, if you don't want to play anymore, then that's fine. But you're not gonna quit. And that lesson stays and resonates with me and permeated with me through the rest of my life to the point that I am actually apprehensive to get involved with anything because I know once I do, I'm in
Hmm.
1,000%. You know what I mean? There's no quitting, and sometimes it could almost be to a detriment. You know what I mean? Because it's like things could be
Right.
kind of going down, and you're like, I gotta stay in it to make it better. I gotta grind through it. So I would say, if anything, that was
Mm,
probably one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, and also my first lesson.
mm. Wow. And it's great that that came right from your mom. So, you finished the season, I'm
I did.
guessing.
Couldn't wait for the next season.
So, you've been playing football for a while now, and then you moved to Canada. What led you to Canada?
Football. I played since I was 6 years old. When I hit 17 and graduated high school, I went off to a couple universities in the States. And in 2009, I had the opportunity to make the jump to play professionally in the CFL in Canada. And so I did. So that was my initial approach to Canada, and absolutely loved it. Got cut, got released, got picked up by another team, got released, and it was like that's when I started realizing, you know what, I might really need to figure out what I'm going to do and what my educational path is and how I'm going to do that because football's not going to be forever. And during that time, I actually was homeless for 3 months, and
Wow.
that lesson that my mom taught me about never quitting and keep going is actually something that like helped me dig myself out of that. And then that's when I actually made the transition to come out here out east in Nova Scotia, as I had an opportunity to go to university again at St. Mary's, which I took that opportunity, played football, and finished my second bachelor's.
Hmm. What was that bachelor's in?
The one at St. Mary's, it was a Bachelor of Arts in
Yeah.
Psych and Soc. My first
Okay.
bachelor's was in
Okay.
the
Okay.
States, and it's weird. In the States, we don't have like a commerce degree. Mine was actually Bachelor of Science in Business Marketing and Management.
Oh. Well, so it's like as you're going through this journey of life, you're picking things up that you put it all together to build Battle X. And at what point did you decide to just pull that trigger and create Battle X?
When everybody told me no, literally. Um, so I played professionally for 11 years, played on the U.S. national team. I did a lot of stuff, got to travel, spent the better part of 10 years in Europe, and in 2017 I retired, and I was just kind of over it. I was just like, you know what, I'm not quitting, because I battled for about three weeks with that, because I've been like, man, am I quitting? Am I like, what's happening? I didn't have the excitement of going to practice and grinding and doing those things anymore, and I felt like there were more and different things I wanted to do. Uh, so after that
Mm,
3 week battle, I went to the management and said, you know what, I really appreciate this opportunity. I got to do this for me. I'm done, and I haven't been on
mm,
the football field since. Um, And this came just like out of the blue. There was no plan. I had no backup plan, which normally I have, where it's like, I'm going to set myself up. So my wife and I were just like, you know what, like where we're going to live, it was going to either be in Helsinki, Finland, it was going to be in Marburg, Germany, it was going to be San Diego or Charlotte, Carolina, and we ended up in Nova Scotia. So,
I guess was the tipping point that made you guys decide to come to Nova
well,
Scotia?
she's from here, and
All right.
we ended up. I was still in Italy, actually signing papers for a condo here, and
Oh.
it just kind of worked out. It was just like, you know what, this is an opportunity to have our own place and say it's ours, and we did, and we ended up being here, and I completely happy about it. I absolutely love it. But to go back to your question, on how BattleX started, um,
Mm,
coming here. So I have two bachelors and I have a master's degree in North American Studies that we did while we were in Germany. And
yeah.
I figured, you know what, like I have two bachelors and a master's, getting a job shouldn't be a problem. And I was wrong.
Mm.
It didn't
No.
matter. I couldn't get a job at a gas station,
Wow.
and I'm like, it weighed heavily on me because I started questioning, why, they tell you to go to school and do this and do that and get educated, and I can't even get a job at a gas station. And
Mm,
it was really hard, and I had to figure out what and how I was going to do things. I thought coaching natural. You go from a
mm,
player. I was really cerebral in my approach to the game, student in the game, and it was like, you know what, I can transfer these skills onto these athletes that are now
mm,
playing and trying to get to those levels that I was at. Coaching would be
mm,
awesome, and I get to you know give them guidance and mentorship and leadership capability. All these types of things. It didn't work out that way. It was actually really hard to get a job in coaching. So now I'm sitting
mm.
here like, what am I going to do? What are we going to do? And Kelly asked me, during our pillow talk, she goes, "If money was no object, what would you do?" And I'm looking at her
Hmm.
like, "Shut up!" Like, So, and she was like, "No, really, like, what would you do?" And I was like, I really love helping people. I really love helping people accomplish their goals and get into their dream. I love mentorship. I love guiding people. I love creating partnerships and doing business to business. I love all these types of things. I love the training. I love the teaching football. Love it all. And then, so I say
Mhm.
all this stuff, and she goes, "Mm-hmm. Then do that." And I'm like, "What you mean do that? How am I going to do all that? Like what?" And I kid you not, like the next day, we went down to Access Nova Scotia and we registered BattleX, and we were off and running from that point on. And it was a grind. Don't get me wrong, it was a grind, but
Mm,
I'm in the position and building that. Like, I learned a lot in the business world. I learned a lot about people and how things work out here. And so there are some people that are in positions to help you that don't necessarily want to see you shine or succeed. And that was a hard lesson to learn as
mm,
well. So again, I got put in a position where I had to bet on myself and believing in me to push forward. And
mm.
basically, here we are.
Wow. Wow, what a story. Which one came first? Was it BattleX or Haberhawks?
Well, they were actually all at the same time. So it
Wow.
was Battle X, and by the way, Kelly was pregnant, and I tore my Achilles at the same time on my right foot, and I couldn't
God.
drive. So she's driving me everywhere, like getting ready to deliver, baby. We got these grand ideas of starting Battle X, and then it's like, hey, let's start a football team too. Let's throw that in there. So the Harbor Hawks came literally right after because again, I couldn't coach. I couldn't get a job coaching, and I really enjoy it, and I feel like I can pass some things on. And it was like, you know what? So let's start this team, and we went down to registries and started the Halifax Harbor Hawks Football Club.
Wow. Wow. And I mean, so I guess it goes back to that lesson you learned from your mom about not quitting. So you had your baby, came together, and then so it's pretty much you had three babies come at the same time. Your baby with Kelly, BATLX and Haberhawks. How's it like managing all those things at the beginning, those first few
Yeah.
years?
I also have a 12-year-old that lives in the States that we are very involved with, that visits us, and we go
Right,
down
right,
there
right.
too. So, 4 babies,
Okay.
and Kelly's also my baby, so 5. Um, it was, that's another lesson I learned from football: time management, scheduling, prioritizing.
Mm,
Um, my calendar is just full, from literally day to day activity. We're going here to get this. We're going there to get that. We got to do this. We got to do that. And it's synced with Kelly, so we always know what each other's doing. Um, and then
mm.
we prioritize, and it works for us. It helps us, and it allows us to almost be in multiple places at one time. Yeah. So
Oh.
it's I would say that's how we manage it.
Yeah, scheduling is crazy. So let's talk about coaching. What do you love about coaching?
Man, I will say I actually did get into coaching. I'm gonna tell you where I'm at right now with it. So I did get an opportunity to coach at the university level, and I truly appreciate that head coach for giving me the opportunity. Um, Absolutely loved my experience. It was also a learning experience for me in some other avenues, and I didn't go
Mm,
back because we were having Jackson, my youngest guy. And then anyway, I had another opportunity to coach somewhere locally at another university, which I did that for a couple years. All while BattleX, the Harbor Hogs, everything else is going on. And this year, this is the first fall that I have not been attached to a football program.
oh.
Weird and scary because I'm like,
I was just about to ask how that feels. Yeah.
weird and scary. It feels like Halloween because I'm like, I have no idea what to do. What I've never like. I just felt like I had all this damn free time. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
again, getting back to the scheduling and like hammering things out. But the coaching, I absolutely enjoy it. I love like the guidance, the mentorship, being able to share experiences and pass that to them, being able to help them get better, help them
Mm,
relate and apply things to the field. But really what it is, football is just my vehicle to be able to connect with you. And once we have that connection,
mm,
like now we get into again the leadership, the mentorship, the guidance, like the life lessons, the life skill. Like that's the stuff that like I really enjoy. That whole cycle. And
mm,
then even now for this fall, um, again, I had some opportunities to coach at the professional level and at the university level. And
mm,
I feel like it's still a dream of mine. And I struggled with what do I do? Because I'm the point we're at BattleX, we have quite a few programs we're about to launch, and they're like really big time programs. Um,
mm.
where and I'll be transparent, we're pouring in $1.2 million back into the community for free programming over 5 years. So
Wow.
this is like a big deal for us anyway. And
Right. It is a big deal.
I think so. And I want to be about it, not talk about it, right? So I felt like this is what we had to
Mm,
do, and we're doing it. And so I struggled with, okay, like here's an opportunity that I feel like I've been wanting, and it's a dream of mine. And
mhm,
I got to the point where I had to identify that it could be the best opportunity in the world, doesn't always and necessarily mean it's the right time. And Kelly
right.
asked me, "What's your dream? What's your goal?" And again, this whole like, "What you mean?" Like, uh, my but to be truthful again, like my goal, my dream is to help these athletes make their dream come true. And in order for
Mm.
me to do that, I need to be here. I need to have 10 toes down right here. I can't be away and do that. And that's that's where I'm at. If that can answer your question of what I enjoy about coaching, there it is. Like being here and being able to be a positive impact in these athletes' lives, and not even just the athlete, the person, the people, the community. That's where I'm at.
Connecting and community is something that we've spoken, and it's something that always comes out. And I didn't know about giving back to the community. Why is it important for you to connect? and to give back to the community in this way, it is a huge amount.
Yeah, it is. I think there's again a lot of levels to that. I'd say one that is more personal is again in that situation when I got released from the CFL, I was homeless. And coming to Nova Scotia, being a Florida guy, I don't know nothing about winter tires. I don't know nothing about how to stay warm during the winter when you talk about down jackets and wool this and wool that and winter boots and like all that kinds. I had no idea about any of that stuff. Uh,
Mm,
and this community really took me in as like if I was one of their own, and they really helped me when I was in one of the darkest moments of my life. They really helped
mm,
me, to where they helped me so much that the only thing I had to focus on was school and football, and that was it. And even during those times, I always tried to find a way to give back to the community. So we started, a quarterback breakfast club when I was at St. Mary's. Um, we had other initiatives and give backs and programming that we did for the community. So that would be on a more personal level and a more broader level, giving back to the community, man. Like I think about what this sport and sports in general did for me. And if I didn't have
mm,
this sport or if I didn't have this, let's say, community, um, I actually don't know where I would have been. I really don't.
mm.
And it gave me a lot of accesses. It gave me a lot of resources. It gave me a lot of connections, um, to be able to really move about the cabin however I felt and pleased. Um,
Mm.
and if I can help any of these people gain accessibility to help them get where they want to go, there it is.
Wow, that's powerful. That's really powerful. So, let's talk a bit about BattleX. I go online, and, I see the things and what you do, and I want to join. What's the process for all that?
Yeah. Well, we are very so we do football specific training and athletic development. Um, I work with athletes, the high performance side, holistic fitness practitioner, like the prehabilitation, those types of things. I don't work with people that just want to be in shape, But we also have trainers at
Mm,
BattleX that I would direct you to that I absolutely love. If and I feel they are the best at what they do, and if they weren't, they wouldn't be at BattleX.
that's very true. Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's not what my focus is. It's not what my niche is, right? But yeah, you'd go online, you send the email saying, "Hey, I want to do position specific training," or I play a different sport. I play hockey. I'm a ringette player. I play soccer or basketball, and I want to be more explosive. I want to jump higher. I want to skate fast. I want to be stronger. Those types of things. I want to have better coordination and stability. Then you get into the
Mm.
athletic development, and you would just reach out and say what you want, and we would talk and communicate as far as what and how you want things done, and I'd have a program for you, and then we would start and would get it in.
How long is a typical athletic development program?
So we have packages. We have a 5 session package and a 12 session package, and you can re up those as many times as you want.
Oh,
We don't have a package to say, hey, yeah, you come for a whole year, and here it is, and
right,
that's
right, right.
tough because of the seasons, right? So like if you're playing hockey, you got 2 seasons in a year. You're playing soccer, you never have an off season. You play football, you have 3 4 months of a season, and then you have 8 months, 7 8 months of or 9 months of off season. So the seasons are different. So this was the best kind of package and uh,
Right.
platform that we were able to come up with. So
Yeah.
you could come for your 12, you can get another 12, and then say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna take a break because we're in season. Or what we're trying to also show the importance of is training in season. However, we have some athletes that
Oh,
are away outside of, you know, reach and being in Nova Scotia that aren't able
yeah.
to do that, or they have a program that they're doing with their athletic or sports program, right? So,
Right.
yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. Another thing that just going through your page and your Instagram, there's this passion you showed when you did this front squat with a lot of weight. Is that something you're building for, and how did that feel? Building towards, and how did that feel?
No, actually, that was on a decline. So
Oh.
when I retired from playing professionally in 2017, my mental struggle is training. I've done it for so long that when I was done playing, it was like, well, I don't need to lift all these heavy weights anymore. But it went from not even just not lifting heavy weights to tearing the Achilles to being the biggest that I ever was to like, well, I want to be fit. I want to be more active. I want to do these things, but I also don't want to lift weights like that. Or I can't even say I don't want to. It was just like I lost that grit. You know what I mean? Of like
Mm,
that fight of like, moving that steel, moving that iron. And I was also lost, to be honest. I was lost because my entire life I've always trained for something.
mm,
So I had periodized training, I had phases. I don't know what I'm gonna do right now. What am I lifting or training for? You know what I mean? I don't know how to do that, and I couldn't do that for me. I can do that for somebody
mm,
else though. I just couldn't do it myself. Um,
mm,
and it's still a mental block, but I actually I'm not sweating too much now, but I just came back from training. And I have a trainer and I go to their gym and I take myself out of my space so that way I like in my frame of mind, I'm here. I'm listening to you. I'm not critiquing. I'm not criticizing. I'm not asking nothing. I'm doing exactly what you tell me to do, you know? And
mm,
I've been doing it now for about 5 weeks and I absolutely love it. And there are times when I'm training that I have like flashbacks of, man, when I used to, or I used to be able to do this, or this feels good. Could I do this again? And it's actually pretty motivating and encouraging because it gets me fired up. So anyway, going back to that post, um,
mm.
I hadn't touched the weight, I hadn't done anything, and I had one of my athletes challenge me. He was like, "Coach, man, you too old. You can't do that no more." And I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna show you." So I got up on there, got up, whole leg, 'cause, 275 on a front squat for doing nothing is actually pretty good.
It's
So,
yeah, yeah. It's
yeah,
insane.
so that's where that came from. That was all of that.
Right. We're talking of your, social media presence. Something that also stood out in some of your captions was like, captions about mental health. How important is that to you?
Extremely important. Extremely important. Again, another one of those things, there's so many different levels to it. Uh,
Mm,
building that mental fortitude, that mental toughness, acuity, like is extremely important, especially as a high performance athlete, and even more so as a leader and a person. Um, Sometimes it could be looked at as being hard headed. Other times it could
mm,
be you're being passive, or it almost like blends in the personalities a bit, right? Um, and then on the mental health side, like that's again that's another tough one. That because there's so many different ways that can go. But one of the things that I really work with my athletes on is like being able to have that grit to fight through things and push through it, and changing their vocabulary and changing what they're saying, and put everything in the positive. you know the-
mm,
a lot of times athletes will want to go out and prove people wrong. I'm gonna do this to prove you
mm,
wrong, or and I tell them, fuck that. Like, go do it to prove yourself right. If you know you can do it, go show yourself you can do it. Make it happen. And just flipping that frame of mind and that mentality and that mindset plays a part in everything. Speak things into existence. Have that tongue and that palate to be able to like put things in a positive and push things forward.
mm, mm, mm. Yo, let's talk about the Harbor Hawks now. When does the season start? How did COVID affect things? And what are some plans for the next
Yeah,
season?
well, COVID affected a lot. We had 2 seasons off. It's a very
Wow.
short summerish season. We typically first game is the beginning of May. Championship is the end of June. We would have a banquet in July. For our calendar, we start in December. kind of get people excited and ready to go. We have our Christmas New Year break, and then we hit it hard come January, and we go through a whole programming process where we teach, the history of football, when and where it started. Most people don't know. It actually started in Canada.
Oh
Right.
wow. Yeah, I'm one of the most people I didn't know
And that's
that.
okay, but we get into that, we get into fundamentals, we get into field dimensions, we get into positions and what they mean, what they're able to do, how they even come up with these names of these positions, just to give them more substance. And then we get into skills and drills, we get into theory, we get into techniques, we teach concepts, um, and you know then we go from concepts to like what's our titles for these concepts, and then we get into our playbook and our season then.
Hmm. Wow, that's a lot of
Oh, it is,
work.
it is, and while we're doing that, we're also training and practicing. You know, we've cut our
Mm.
practices down to be an hour and 15 minutes max, twice a week.
Oh.
And when you talk about scheduling, there it is. We have a schedule and a plan for every practice. It's scripted, and we get in, we get the work done, and we get out. And
Mm.
it's been really good for us. We've had a lot of athletes that we have high school, university, and post university players. So we have
Mm.
ranging people that have never played football to people that have played on the Canadian national team, or played some sort of a pro ball or big time university ball, and everything in between.
Wow.
So for us, being able to build that foundation to say, hey, everybody has at least this level of understanding, and we go up from there, is really important to us. We are a developmental program, um,
Mm.
and we want people to learn, how to do things the right way, our way, um, and be able to take that with them wherever they go, whether they go to another program, whether they make the jump to university, or they make the jump to pro, or if they're done and they just want to continue playing football with us just for fun, you know. But everybody has that understanding of knowing there are some players here that are using this as a stepping stone to go up in levels, and then there are some players that
Mm.
have a family and have a full-time job, and they come because they want to play, because they want to have fun with it, but we have that mutual
Mm.
understanding, and we make sure it stays competitive and respectful, and we communicate.
So will there be a new season next summer? Do you
Yeah,
think?
definitely. There's some things we got to go through with the league as far as crossing borders into New Brunswick and PEI, because we have some teams in those provinces. What that looks
Mm.
like, how it looks for the league, how it looks for the teams, and be able to shape that up and move forward from there.
Wow. It's always great talking to you. I'm running out of time, but I have one last one for you
Okay.
though. Before I let you go, Micah, one thing, I mean, you've talked about your mom and the advice she gave you, but someone that's been like there pretty much through the building of BATLX and Harbor Hawks and your children, has been Kelly. Like, at what point did you know, okay, this person is right for me?
It's crazy because I would say it was like that cliche of like love at first sight. It really was. Like, I know without a shadow of a doubt she has my back. She also knows that
Mm.
I have her back. But she truly is my stability. She really is my rock. She's my sounding board. She puts me in place, you know. Like, she really does. Um, and she has a very elegant touch to her where she'll put me in place in a nice way. You know what I mean? Um, but, we communicate extremely well. We're on the same page pretty much with everything, and if we're not, we'll communicate it
Mm.
out, and then we ended up being fine. But man, she she believes in, another thing I tell my athletes is like, you have to believe in yourself before anybody else could believe in you, right? And it took me a long process to get um, to where I'm at in life with who I am and how I am, and
Mm.
being able to identify who Micah Brown is. And I can move about
Mm.
this world and be accepting and happy of every decision I make, because I know I do it with a pure heart. I'm talking about like 24 karat
Mm.
gold pure. And that's how I
Right.
move. And Kelly's the exact same way. She believes in me. She also believes in
Mm,
herself. She believes in BattleX and the Harbor Hawks and what we're doing. She's the other founder of the Harbor Hawks. She actually brought up
mm.
the idea of starting this team and putting it together.
Wow.
She runs everything on the back end, all the scheduling, the emailing, all the stuff that the nitty gritty stuff. So that way I can go in and enjoy what I'm doing, which is working with the athletes, whether it's at BattleX, whether it's with the Harbor Hawks, the networking part. Um, she controls everything else. She handles everything else, and does an amazing job at it. And she believes in it
Mm.
so much. She was working a full time salary job and left.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah. Man, talk about going all in, eh?
That's it. That's one of the slogans for the Harbor Hawks that one of our guys came up with. All out, ball out. That's it.
Man, Micah, it's great to talk to you. I think I should actually have Kelly come on because it's like she has the other parts that you're not like you don't want to talk about the email and the scheduling of the things, and I'll be intrigued to find out more from our own point of view. But I just wanted to say thank you for coming to the sanctuary today, and good luck with everything, BattleX. And again, thanks for what you're doing for the community.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on. Anytime. Absolutely loved it. So thanks for welcoming me to your sanctuary, man.